Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cristo Rey Network Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, if your camera and your microphone are off, you are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are here, ready and available to answer your questions. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded, including this one, and will be available at strivescan.com/Cristo-Rey. We are currently in session B1, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this is also the same order of presentations. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our first representative from the University of Rochester. Unfortunately, the representative from the University of Richmond is not here at the moment, but we will go ahead and get started with the representative from the University of Rochester.
Great, thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. My name is Kathleen Popala. I am Regional Director of Admissions at the University of Rochester. I'm going to quickly share my screen right here, and we will get started. First hurdle we always have with students is, our location. The city of Rochester, New York is not one that many people are overly familiar with. So we are located in Western New York, right kind of in the Finger Lakes region of the state. We're about 6.5 hours by car from New York City, about the same distance from Boston and Philadelphia. I am a regionally based person, I should say, here in the Chicago area. I do go back to campus very regularly. It is a quick hour flight from the Chicagoland area right into Rochester Airport. Campus is 2 miles from the airport, so really, really accessible. You can also drive from Chicago. It is about a 10-hour drive. There are Amtrak options as well. That does take quite a bit of time. In terms of our location in the city of Rochester, Rochester itself is a small city. It's about 1.1 million residents. It is a great young person city. So there's 5 colleges and universities in and around the city of Rochester. So with all of those young people come all of those wonderful amenities and opportunities that young people like. So great coffee shops and restaurants, great art houses and galleries, live concert venues, but also a thriving city for internships and research opportunities. Our campus, that River campus right there in the main part of the picture, that is our main undergraduate campus. It's where most of our 5,600 undergraduate students live and learn. We are a residential campus. Housing's guaranteed for all 4 years, and about 90% of our students will live on campus for 4 years. But we're about 2.5 miles from downtown Rochester. We've got free transportation that's going to get you all over the place if you need to go to the airport, to Wegmans, which is a huge sort of way of life in Western New York. It's our supermarket. If you want to go to a minor league baseball game, if you want to go up to Lake Ontario to go paddle boarding, we're going to be able to get you in and around the city of Rochester pretty easily. Like I said, we have this great shuttle system. We don't permit our first and second year students to bring a car. Our location in Western New York, I'm assuming people are thinking, oh, it's going to snow all the time. And it does get a lot of snow. It gets about 70 inches of snow on average a year. But I will say it does not get nearly as cold in Rochester, New York as it does here in Chicago. They don't get the polar vortex like we do. What you're not seeing in this picture is our medical center. We've got a comprehensive medical center that encompasses a research hospital, cancer research center, children's hospital. So for those of you who are maybe thinking schools of medicine and dentistry, health professions, nursing, we've got this really wonderful facility right across the street from our undergraduate campus for you to experience through internships and through research. A little bit by the numbers. This is actually my favorite picture we always take of our first year students every year, this giant R. It happens every single year, and I just think it's a great thing for our students to do. So like I said, we're a medium-sized school, and with that comes a really manageable size class and student to faculty ratio. Average class size is about 20 students. You could have as much as about 80 students in a class. You could have as few as 3. So we really thrive on that personal connection of making sure your faculty know you really well. They know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, they know how to support you in the best possible way when you're with us. Internships and research are really important to our students. We want to make sure that you're not just getting a great classroom experience, but we're teaching you how to use that in the real world. So as you can see, 95% of our undergraduates will do internships with us. I'll talk a little bit about research in just a minute as well, but that's really the hallmark of who we are as an institution. We have a great study abroad program. Our demographic on campus is really international as well. We represent not only all 50 states, but also 127 different countries. So right now, 31% of our undergraduates are actually international students that come to us from outside of the US. And there's lots of different academic opportunities, which I'm going to talk about right now. So one of the things that makes Rochester pretty unique compared to some other schools is the fact that we don't have a core or general education requirement. So there's actually no required subjects at Rochester. So if you're a student who's, sitting there thinking, oh God, when I graduate, I really never want to take insert subject, whether that's math, English, history, foreign language, every student has it. Fine, you simply come to Rochester and you study the things you love, which means you don't study the things that you don't love. We really believe in you being in the driver's seat of your education and creating for yourself your own unique, interesting, personalized academic program for yourself. So you, again, study what you love, don't study what you don't love. As I mentioned, research is a big part of who we are. We are a tier 1 or an R1 research institution. Really all you kind of need to know about that is that research is abundantly available and it's abundantly funded for all of our students. We are a strong academic program, so we've got over 200 academic areas of study at the university. I know that these visuals are very STEM heavy, but I will say that even for those of you who might be thinking humanities, social sciences, business, anything like that, if you want to study English or art history, you also are going to have access to really world-class, meaningful, thoughtful research opportunities under your belt with us when you're here. The dirty little secret no one tells you about college is that more than 50% of your time is spent outside of the classroom. And so we think it's important for us to not just make sure you're having a strong academic experience. That's obviously why you're going to college, but we also want to make sure that you're having a good life on campus as well. And so that residential component, again, the fact that 90% of our students live and learn on our campus is huge for us. And that really feeds into this really strongly connected student life experience that our students have. So we have 23 Division III athletic programs for men and women. We have over 300 club and organizations for our students. So if you're interested in the arts, school newspaper, literary magazine, student government, we really want you to be able to find your community on our campus. We have long been a campus full of doers and activists, disruptors, change makers. And so we want our students to truly use their voices for those causes and ideals that are important to them. Your voices are not simply tolerated on our campus, but they are embraced and empowered when you're with us as well. And last, I want to talk a little bit about, I know I'm getting to the end of my time. I do want to talk a little bit about the application process. If you're going to sort of screenshot anything that I'm talking about, this is probably the one that you're going to want to do. My role in our office is that I run application review. So I train our readers and make sure decisions are thoughtfully made. And really what we focus on during training is this idea of holistic review, wanting to know not just what kind of student a person's going to be on our campus, but what kind of person are they going to be on our campus? Are they able to really live out the ideals and core values that are important to us? Things like you'll see under that character and values section, strength of heart, strength of mind, strength of will, and certainly our Meliora values of equity, leadership, integrity, openness, respect, and accountability. We are a test optional institution. We were test optional before COVID. We will be test optional long after COVID. And so we welcome you to apply to the University of Rochester without any standardized testing. We don't need it for any programs and we don't need it for scholarship. We are a school that meets full demonstrated financial need for all of our enrolling students. So whatever that gap is between what your family can contribute and what our total cost of attendance is will be met in full. And that is true for domestic students, international students, and undocumented students. So any student that chooses to enroll at Rochester is going to have the full monetary backing that they need to attend our institution. As if you're seniors right now, we are currently doing interviews. They're not part of our required part of our application process, but it is something that we strongly encourage our applicants to do. It's just a good chance for us to get to know you a little bit better, learn a little bit more about you outside of what we're already going to find and all of that great information that you're going to give us in the common application. And so if that's something that you're interested in, all of that is located right on our website. If you wanted to do an interview specifically with me, either via Zoom or in person, I do have a number of in-person interview events on our website, but you could certainly always reach out to me directly and I can happily arrange a Zoom interview with you as well, if that's something that you'd like to do. With that, thank you so much for having us tonight. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them towards the end, and I will pass it along to my next colleague. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much. The next representative is from Catholic University of America.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Just for 1 moment. Wonderful. Well, thank you all for taking some time out of your evening today. My name is Kevin Medina. I'm one of the assistant deans of undergraduate admission at the Catholic University of America. And we really like to think of this as kind of the first step in you writing your story. I will also note that Catholic University is a formal partner with the Cristo Rey network, which I'll get into some of those benefits in just a moment, but just wanted to mention that from the beginning. So a little bit about Catholic U by the numbers. We are a smaller community. We have about 3,100 undergraduate students. We have about 2,600 graduate and law students. About 80% of our students do identify as Catholic. That being said, you do not have to be Catholic to attend the university. We are welcoming of all faiths, backgrounds, race, ethnicities, with students from typically all 50 states and about 33 different countries spanning the entire globe. We were actually founded as a research institution. We are the second oldest research institution in the United States, with 34 research centers on campus. And as I mentioned, we do try and keep everything relatively small. Average class size is right around 19 students. And your time at Catholic is not only going to be in the class. We are a very, very active campus with 25 NCAA Division III varsity teams, 9 different club sports, 16 intramural leagues, 2 fitness centers for students to enjoy, and over 100 clubs and organizations. In any given week, we are hosting about 40 to 50 events, including all of our service opportunities on campus and in the surrounding area. And truly what makes us really unique is our location. Catholic University is located right in Washington, D.C., just a few miles from Center City, but we are right in the city. And the way that I typically will describe it to students is that we are a metropolitan campus, but only when they want it to be. Our students really get the best of both worlds, where they get, again, a traditional college campus environment. We sit on 176 acres of land, making us the largest self-contained campus with space in the city. Also makes us the greenest campus in Washington, D.C. But we also have a metro stop directly on our campus available to take you to downtown in just 3 to 5 short stops for your internship, for the events that are going on. We have, obviously, DC has a major airport available to you. So again, you have really the best of both worlds. You can have that fast-paced city lifestyle every day, every weekend, but you don't have to be surrounded by it 24/7, which I think a lot of our students find really refreshing. And being that we are right in one of the major cities kind of in the world, you will not be without, all of the opportunities. Here are just a few of the different internships that our students participated in last year, things like the White House, DC United, NASA, the National Institute of Health, FBI, Smithsonian Institution, and they make just a portion of our entire internship network, both in the city, but then also spanning the entire globe. And at the undergraduate level, we have 9 schools of study. All of our programs, for the most part, are all direct entry programs. That does include our nursing program, engineering. Again, they are all direct entry. So as long as you put them on your application and you are admitted to the university, you will be put right into that program basically from day one. We also have 3 versions of what we refer to as undecided. So if you're the student that might not be exactly sure of what they're interested in doing, we have 3 undecided tracks, one in our School of Arts and Sciences, which is our kind of generalized undecided, and then one in our School of Business and one in our School of Engineering for students that are like, I know I want business, I know I want engineering, but I'm not exactly sure of what type of business or what type of engineering. And we encourage all students to study abroad. Any major can study abroad. You can see here all of the different opportunities that you do have. And again, this includes all majors, our nursing majors, our engineering majors. Some of our programs are going to be very, very specific to what you are studying. To give you a few examples, our nursing students will typically go to either France or Australia. Our politics students get to do full internship experiences in either Belgium, Ireland, or London, working with the European Union, British Parliament, or Irish Parliament. And then our most popular overall program is going to Rome, where we have our own flagship campus. So looking at the application review process, we're going to be looking at the courses that you take. We recalculate every single GPA that comes into our office on an unweighted 4.0 scale. We're going to be looking at the strength of curriculum, so what you took and what was offered at your specific high school. And then starting last year and moving forward, Catholic University made the decision to transition into a test-blind institution. We were test optional previously, but because of COVID and really boiling it down to an access issue, we decided to change to test blind. So we do not look at test scores, SAT or ACT whatsoever for any student, regardless of major, for both admission as well as scholarship review. In addition to this, we will also look at everything outside the classroom. So your activities, your service, your leadership, all those extracurriculars. You will automatically be considered for our university honors program. Our application is completely free for students to apply via the Common App. And our next application deadline is November 1st. And it's an early action. So if you apply by that November 1st deadline, you will receive your decision typically the middle of December. And similarly to, as I just mentioned, being automatically considered for our honors program, you will also automatically be considered for all of our scholarships. Last year, they ranged from $15,000 to $32,000 a year. We also have a parish scholarship for anyone who is a part of a Catholic parish, which is $4,000 a year, a legacy grant for anyone who has had a parent, grandparent, or sibling that's attended the university, and then a few full tuition scholarships for our highest achieving students. I will also note that because we are committed to the Cristo Rey network and we are partnered up with the entire Cristo Rey network, any admitted student who is admitted to Catholic University, we will cover full need up to full tuition for those students. So that is in addition to whatever scholarships you're receiving simply from applying and being a part of the Cristo Rey network, which is a great benefit. And so just looking at next steps, definitely stay connected with whoever your counselors. You can find out that information on our website. I will also throw my information in on the chat. We do offer interviews for any student who is interested in participating in an interview, both virtually and in person if we are in your area. Again, they are totally optional, but as was mentioned previously, just something else to add to your application. Follow us on our social media. CUA admission, Instagram tends to be the most popular. And then just keep an eye out for our upcoming events. We're hosting students on campus every day, Monday through Saturday. We are hosting 2 open houses this fall, one on September 18th, one on October 3rd, as well as a virtual open house the second week of October and virtual events throughout every week. So again, definitely stay connected with us. And you can see here all of our different tags. Again, Instagram tends to be the most popular with all of the events we're hosting and really spotlighting what our current students are up to nowadays. So thank you all again. I'm going to pass it on to our next presenter. And again, I will put all of my information into the chat.
Great, thank you so much. Just a friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, to feel free to submit those using the Q&A button. Any questions you have about the college application process, if you have a specific question for a school, the Q&A button is a great place to submit those. Again, our admission representatives are here to answer your questions. The next representative is from the University of Vermont.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Brown, and I serve as a Regional Associate Director in the Office of Admission at UVM. And my position is a little bit unique in the fact that I am stationed in the Chicagoland area full-time recruiting students on behalf of the university. So thank you all so much for being here this evening. And just to get started, we've got just some general fast fact information here on our first slide. The University of Vermont has about 10,000 undergraduate students, so not too big, not too small. Our average class size hovers just around 32 students, but some of your classes can be as small as around 10 to 15 students. You'll see here as well that our percentage between in-state and out-of-state students is a little bit unique, especially for a state institution. You'll see that we have about 73% of our students coming from outside of the Vermont area, while 27% of those students are coming from inside of the state of Vermont. One of the reasons why that out-of-state statistic is so high is because Vermont is such a tiny state. So we definitely do draw students from all across the country and around the globe. So our student body makes up students from around 47 different states and about 67 different countries. We do have over 100 different majors that students can choose from at UVM. Some of our more popular programs do include business, psychology, environmental studies and sciences, in addition to the health sciences as well. So some of the distinctive qualities about the University of Vermont can on the surface seem a little bit contradictory. So for example, the University of Vermont is very old. We were founded in 1791, and we are the 5th oldest institution in the New England area after Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, and Brown. But we're also really new in the fact of constantly keeping pace with the changing world around us and constantly instituting new academic programs and just being very cognizant of the ever-changing society that we find ourselves in. It is also true that we are both big and small, so we're really big in comparison to some of those smaller liberal arts institutions, but also really small in comparison to some of those larger national research institutions across the nation. We are also urban and open. So with us being urban, we are located in the beautiful city of Burlington. Our downtown area is just about a 10-minute walk from campus. So you'll be able to experience lots of shops and nightlife and restaurants down there in the downtown area. And with us being open, our natural landscape is very open. So we have very beautiful, sweeping, vast views of nature. Our campus is framed by the Green and Adirondack Mountains. And we also sit right on Lake Champlain, which is the 6th largest freshwater lake in the United States. Our students at the University of Vermont participate in a number of different experiential learning opportunities. So whether that is an internship, research opportunities, or service learning opportunities, around 98% of our students are completing at least one of these opportunities before graduating from UVM. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see some recent internships that our students have completed. This is by no means an exhaustive list. So we actually have a list of thousands of internships in our Career Center that students have taken advantage of over the years, and our Career Center advisors, in addition to academic advisors and your professors, will help you to gain some of these opportunities. One thing that we really value at the University of Vermont is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see some values listed. And these values are what we call our common ground. So they are respect, integrity, innovation, openness, justice, and responsibility. And not only do students govern themselves by these values, faculty and staff also govern themselves by these values as well. So every year, our freshman students who are new to the university actually sign a pledge to these values at a candlelight ceremony on our university green. And it just further solidifies their commitment to these values and really holding true to them throughout the academic year. In order to further commit to these values, we've woven some of our curriculum in with our common ground. So you'll see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen that you'll have some education requirements that you'll need to fulfill in addition to your academic major in order to graduate from the University of Vermont. So all students have to take 2 diversity courses, one sustainability class, one quantitative reasoning class, in addition to a foundational writing and information literacy course as well. On the top right-hand side of the screen, you'll see some campus identity centers. And these are centers where students can actively plan and engage and come together. And for students who share a strong sense of common identity, they can serve as a second home. So we've got our Mosaic Center for Students of Color, our Prism Center for any students who identify as LGBTQIA+, our Interfaith Center, in addition to our Women and Gender Equity Center as well. So all in all, the University of Vermont deeply values diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it is something that we are incredibly proud of. This slide talks a little bit about our housing on campus. We have living and learning communities on campus, and students just absolutely love living and learning communities. You are required to live in a living and learning community, or an LLC is what we call them for short, an LLC in that first year, but it is an option to live in an LLC in your second year on campus. So you rank these in order of preference on your housing application, and it essentially just gives students an opportunity to hone in on a passion that they have outside of their academic major. So you're able to live and learn with students who have same shared interests and passions outside of the classroom as you. You'll also be able to do various activities around the Vermont area centered around your LC theme, in addition to taking a 1 credit hour course in the first year together with your living and learning community centered around that theme as well. So it's a really fantastic setup. Again, our students absolutely love LLCs, and I think it's a great way to have a feeling of home away from home and really solidify that community and camaraderie kind of right off the bat. All right, so here's a little bit about our admissions process on this slide here. So as you've heard from some of our other universities today, we at the University of Vermont do utilize a holistic review process as well. So our average GPA hovers just around a 3.7 on a 4.0 scale. We are test optional this year, and we will be test optional next year as well. So if you choose to submit your test scores, we definitely welcome that. But if you choose not to, you will in no way be penalized in the application process. We do take a look at your extracurricular activities, your personal essay within the common or the coalition application, in addition to if you have chosen to complete one of our optional essays as well, in addition to your academic marks, to make that decision as to if we feel that you would be a good fit for the University of Vermont. So definitely a holistic review process there. I'll move on a little bit into scholarships and financial aid. About 87% of undergrads do receive a scholarship or financial aid from the University of Vermont, particularly for out-of-state students. Those are going to range from $8,000 and going upwards into $20,000 per year. You are automatically considered for those upon being admitted to the university. You'll also receive your merit-based scholarship award along with your acceptance letter as well. So you'll know where you stand in terms of admittance, in addition to scholarship, merit-based scholarship, once you get your acceptance letter. Students are automatically also considered for the Honors College upon being admitted to the university as well. So it's an automatic consideration. Again, no separate application needed. And we typically take about the top 7 to 10% of our applicants and offer them an invite into our Honors College. If for some reason you're not invited that first year, you can still come to the University of Vermont, earn a 3.4 grade point average in your freshman year, and then apply at the end of your sophomore year in order to be considered. About 35% of our student body in the honors program are sophomore entrances. Thank you all so much for your time this evening. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns. I will put my contact information in the chat. Feel free to message me at any time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So much great information shared so far. But our last representative, but certainly not least, is from the University of Richmond.
Awesome, thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, and here we go. Perfect, 1 second. And real quick, guys, my name is Jose Garcia. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions Diversity Outreach and Partnership here at the University of Richmond. A little bit about us, guys, just as a quick snapshot of us. But again, just a couple things. We just got our rankings. We are ranked number 22 among liberal arts colleges. So very high caliber education. We talk about the resources to give, which I'll go to in a little bit. We are just like University of Rochester, a school that meets 100% demonstrated need. So giving out very generous financial aid packages to our students with high need. And we talk about diversity. Diversity here not only talks about racial and ethnic, socioeconomic, geographic, talk about educational diversity, where 2/3 of our kids will actually graduate with 2 or more degrees within 4 years. But real quick about us, guys, we're actually located in Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital city of Virginia, most diverse city. This is an aerial view of our campus. We're about 360 acres of land. We are 6 miles from downtown. So roughly we're about 2 hours south of DC. We're 2 hours from Virginia Beach, 2 hours from the mountains, but just a great location. City of Richmond's about 2 million people. Again, just a lot of great things here. But again, our campus being 6 miles from downtown, it's a nice chance because you're in a suburban setting. You've got all that campus environment, but yet you still have this rustle and hustle of the city next to us. A little glimpse of us, we're about 3,200 students, so not too big, not too small. I say a medium kind of school. Over 90% of our kids live on campus all 4 years. We do guarantee housing for all 4 years. We have a 94% retention rate, which means our kids stay here not only for the first year, but through all 4 years. I think that's an awesome thing to say, because talk about the community, the support, the family environment here on our campus. We do have small classes. The average class size is 16 with a student faculty ratio of 8:1. So you definitely get a chance to get to know your faculty member, your professor. They're all taught, no TAs, no graduate assistants, all faculty and professors. One thing we talk about here is we are going to push in the classroom. We want you to play hard as well. So work hard, play hard. And the play hard mentality comes from being involved outside the classroom. That comes through clubs and organizations. We have over 180 different clubs and organizations here at the University of Richmond. We also are a Division I school. We have 17 D1 sports. I love saying this. We're the only spider in the nation. You see the spider behind me. We do have 32 club sports, the arts, theater, dance, everything you think of here. Are a lot of our kids volunteer or give back to the city of Richmond. On top of that, you see a lot of students that work on it within the campus and off campus as well, but our kids are very involved. The typical student does 3 to 4 clubs in their lifetime. The biggest thing we talk about here at the University of Richmond is our academics. When you walk in as a freshman, you actually cannot declare major. You're probably thinking, Jose, I already know what I'm doing. Let me give you a couple of reasons why we do this. One, you might change your mind. You might say, hey, I know what I'm doing, but I discover a whole new thing I want to do. Change your mind once, twice. I did it 3 times. The other thing, you might discover a new passion. So not only what you're doing, what you want to do, but adding something to it. So here at the University of Richmond, after your first year, you can then declare your major. We have 3 colleges within the university you can choose from. First, the School of Arts and Science, which about 70% of our kids stay within the School of Arts and Science. Next is the Robbins School of Business. It's a top-ranked business school, so definitely any options from there. And third, we're the first university ever to have this type of school, but we have the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, which basically means we're taking your leadership skills, both internally and externally, and either attaching it to a current career track, or we're actually going to move it to where you can prepare for a new job. We always give the example, YouTube influencers. We were preparing kids for jobs like that 10 years ago before it became a job. And I talk about, and you see in the middle, 2/3 of our kids will actually have 2 or more degrees. You can crisscross colleges. You can get something from arts and science and business, leadership studies and business, whatever you can think of, whatever your passion gets you from there. The next thing is resources. We want to make sure that you have not only a great 4 years, but even better 40 years after you graduate. So what that comes from is the resources we want to give to you. And that comes from the experiences you gain over the summer, be it internships, shadow opportunities, research, whatever the case may be. So we have something for you guys. We call it the Richmond Guarantee. We guarantee that every student, at least one summer, if not multiple summers, will get up to a $4,000 grant, not a loan, but a grant for you to do whatever you want when it comes to your career path. So it might be an internship back home, doesn't pay you, pay yourself. Maybe it's an internship somewhere around the country or the world. They are paying you, not paying for your housing. Pay for your housing. Maybe it's study abroad, which I'll get into a little bit. Maybe it's research, but whatever you can think of, this is there for you. I think this is an amazing thing that you want to see from us. So for us to do this, that's something that we always look at. We want to make sure that we're able to give you every opportunity possible to be successful. And I think that's something big for us. The other thing we talk about is study abroad. We want to make sure that you get out and explore the world, see what happens. You learn as much outside the classroom as you do inside the classroom. So for us, we're proud to say this though, we are the second most studied abroad school in the entire nation. 67% of our kids will go abroad at one point or another. And for us, it could be a semester, it could be a full year, It could be a summer. It could be 10 days. Whatever the case may be, we want you to go out there and explore. You're not restricted by major. You're not restricted by language. You can actually start studying abroad the spring of your freshman year. I think that's big. I got to do it when I was an undergrad in college. I think it's amazing because it gives you that many more experiences. But again, get a chance to go out there, explore, see everything that's happening out there. So that's a huge thing for us. The next thing for us is I want to give you is a glimpse of our incoming class this past year. So for us, this is a profile of what our students look like this past year. We have students from just this is our incoming class, 43 states represented as well as 36 different countries. Overall, we are represented by all 50 states and over 75 different countries on our campus. And it gives you a glimpse of where we're coming from. Also, you see a very diverse class. We talk about 29% of our students actually identify as U.S. students of color. About 14% identifies first generation students. And for those that don't know, first generation means you're the first in your family to go on and try to attempt a 4-year degree. That's our definition. 11% of our kids identify as international students. And for us guys, we're a very diverse campus overall. About 34% of our campus identifies U.S. students of color. And I think for us, it just shows you where our kids are coming from, literally from everywhere across the world. You're getting spiders everywhere. Real quick for us guys, academically speaking, this is a profile of our admitted student last year. We are test optional, so there is no difference if you decide to go test or not test. For us guys, we want to make sure what's best for you, what is most comfortable for you, what you feel best represents who you are as a student. But we had almost 14,000 applications last year. We admitted a little over 4,000 students, so we're about a 29% acceptance rate, so a selective school, and we enrolled about 890 students. Typically, we enroll between 815 and 840. Got a little over this year, but it's not impacting this incoming class right now. For us, we do recalculate your GPA on a 4.0 scale. We know everybody's on a 4.5 point, 7 point. We try to keep it on a 4.0, but we look at every individual Cristo Rey school, every school individually. So for us, the average GPA for an admitted student, again, average, not minimum, maximum, but just the middle 50%, 25% fell above, 25% fell below, but it's between a 3.73 and a 4.0 GPA. If you decide to turn test scores in, your average test scores last year were between a 1420 and 1520 SAT or a 3235 ACT. Again, like I said, we are test optional. Last year, for enrolling class, it was a 50-50 mix. 50% took tests, 50% did not. We are, and everybody's mentioned it here before, we are a very holistic school. We look at, and I use the spider term mentality again, all 8 legs of a spider. We look at every part of an application. We're looking at not only your essay, we're looking at your transcript, which does play a key role. We're looking at rigor. Are you taking advantage of the upper level courses that are offered at your school? The honors, the AP, the dual enrollment. If your school doesn't offer that, looking at those courses that are pushing you beyond your limits. We're looking at what you're doing outside the classroom. This comes in the form of a job, a club, maybe being on a sports team. But here's a big one, and people don't ever realize this: family responsibilities. Are you helping take care of siblings, grandparents, the dog? My dog's a big mess right now, so he's always taking care of that. But I want to make sure that you're telling us about that. Seeing creativity. You may have lost an opportunity or a club or a sport or a job because of the pandemic. What did you do besides that? Showing us that right there. Seeing your recommendation letters, all of that. Again, we're looking at the whole person making a decision. Big thing for us, application deadlines. We are an early decision, early action, regular decision school. November 1st is the first big deadline. That is early decision round 1 and early action. January 1st is your regular decision and early decision round 2. You see that December 1st deadline. If you want to be considered for any merit scholarship or academic scholarships, you need to complete your application by December 1st. So again, just a quick glimpse of us. If you're looking to apply for financial aid, and I'll talk about that in the next slide over, we do have deadlines for you to turn in your documents. If you're going for that November 1st deadline, you need to turn all your financial aid documents by November 15th. After that, from that point. So real quick, guys, just a quick thing about us being 100% demonstrated needs school. Again, knowing that we have two documents, the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And if you guys need anything at all, I'm gonna leave a registration link in the chat box for you to click on. But this is my information, guys. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you guys for the time.
Awesome, thank you. We really appreciate all the great information. We do have a little bit of time left, so we're gonna now dive into our Q&A portion of this session. I invite all our representatives at this time to go ahead and turn on their videos to get ready to unmute themselves. And our first question here is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Again, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And you'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented in.
I think for me, especially this year, knowing how hard the last 18 months have been for so many students and their families, I think coming at it with a little bit of grace for yourself. You know, we understand from our perspective that there has been so much lost for you as students, lost experiences, lost opportunities. You've had to navigate remote learning, hybrid learning, lots of different crazy things. To, I guess, come at it from a standpoint of knowing that we're going to provide you grace with that, and to give yourself grace in that as well, and to certainly, you know, connect with all of us. A lot of the reasons why so many of us are in this profession is because we want to walk students and help them navigate this crazy, crazy process. And so use us in any really kind of way that we can help you and support you during this time.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree, especially with that connection part. I mean, we are here for you to be a resource and, you know, help answer any questions. And this is what we're doing on a daily basis. So I'm sure if you have a question about it, we've heard it before, and we can help you through that. And one thing that I would definitely encourage you all to do, because, you know, you may not have had the opportunity last year, try and visit, you know, campuses that you're interested in, especially if they're very different looking campuses. You heard from 4 wonderful universities here, and we all are going to look a little bit different. So it's really important to get the opportunity to go and visit these campuses and figure out really where you feel like you could see yourself for the next 4 years and where you can call home for those next 4 years.
Absolutely. And I think I would just add that just to remember that this is your process. You're going to be getting advice from teachers, you know, your peers, your parents, older brothers and sisters, younger brothers and sisters. But just remember to continue to listen to that small, still voice that speaks inside about, you know, what feels right for you, what doesn't feel right for you. Again, this is a process in which you will be deciding where you will spend the next 4 years of your life. So just make sure that you're following your own heart and following that guidance that's speaking inside to you.
And I would echo everything. The one piece of advice I have, and it's just a one-word advice, is patience. Patience with yourself, because this is going to be, everybody said, a process, everything of that nature. Patience with the people around you, your counselors, your parents, guardians, your friends, everybody that's going to help you in this decision. And honestly, just know, and I think we all can say this honestly, you will find a home. You will find a place. You will find somewhere that you're going to continue your education, and then you're going to continue on to be the best alumnus from that university, wherever the case may be. But again, my one key word is patience.
Awesome. So much great advice. And it's always great to hear. We'll try to see if we can squeeze in one more question here really quickly. And that next question is, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? What is one thing you want students to remember about your school?
It's so hard for admissions people to like have one thing. I would say our flexibility, you know, the fact that you can come and pursue a million different things that you're interested in without being sort of tied to a general education requirement is pretty special about Rochester.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier in my presentation, but again, we're a metropolitan school whenever you want it to be. So it really is the best of both worlds, of having everything that Washington, D.C., you know, the capital of our country, has to offer, but still having a very traditional, very green campus. And we always like to say, if you're in Washington, D.C. long enough, you'll meet whoever you want to meet.
There's so many good things about the University of Vermont. It's so hard to choose just one. But I would say that, you know, just remember, at the University of Vermont, you'll be accepted for who you are. You know, I spent quite a bit of time on the slide speaking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we really do value that on campus. And we really do value the wide array of experiences and backgrounds that students have. And when they bring those to campus, it just enriches the student body. So come as you are, and we value you for exactly who it is that you are.
I think the one thing I would say for us is the support and resources through the Richmond Guarantee, to study abroad, do all that, but making sure we give you every resource possible to be successful after you graduate. And that's a big thing for us at Richmond is, again, this comes from our president, but we want you to have a great 4 years. We're worried about the next 40 years of your life.
Awesome. And we are right at time. So that is awesome. Thank you so much to our representatives for being here. Again, always so quick and efficient. We really appreciate it. I absolutely love that question. I think it does speak to the uniqueness of every institution and what is that one highlight, that one way to say this is what is one thing you want students to remember. So again, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have again reached the conclusion of this session, but before we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind filling that out for us, your feedback is extremely helpful to us. This is one of many college presentations, so feel free to sign up for more on the website, and you'll be able to also view the entire schedule. And lastly, this session will be recorded along with many others and will be available at strivescan.com/Cristo-Rey. Again, thank you so much and have a great night.